How to deal with intrusive thoughts. Intrusive thoughts are those thoughts that come by themselves, without us inviting them, without us enjoying them. They just come to our mind and they keep on coming, even though we don't believe in them or we don't want them. They keep on coming, and sometimes they are quite disturbing. These are intrusive thoughts. How to deal with them. Stay with me until the end of this video and you will learn some powerful tips. Hi there, meditator. Welcome to episode 23rd of Master Your Mind Daily, your daily inspiration for all things meditation, anxiety, and personal growth. My name is Giovanni Dienstmann. I am the author of Practical Meditation and the writer behind liveandthere.com, the 5th most popular meditation blog on the web. Today, we are talking about how to deal with intrusive thoughts. But before, it's important to know that there are different types of intrusive thoughts. They can be fears, it can be desires, it could be shame and guilt, it could be obsession, it could be a thought of harming yourself or harming others, it could be negative self-talk, anxiety, many different things. Now my question for you is, what type of intrusive thought bothers you the most? And the first thing I wanted to say about it is, don't feel ashamed. It's okay that these thoughts come. They don't make you a bad person. They don't make you less of a human. Right? So that's why I want to open this conversation. If you can write in the comments the type of intrusive thoughts that you have, so that other people know, okay, we can all have intrusive thoughts, and that doesn't make us less of a human. And the key insight from meditation, one of the key insights of meditation, is that you're not responsible for the thoughts that spontaneously arise in your mind. You're responsible for where you put your attention. If you decide to continue thinking a thought, if you decide to believe a thought, if you decide to act based on a thought, then that's your responsibility, that's your decision. But the thoughts that spontaneously come, that's okay, it's not your fault. And you can let them pass, or you can believe in them and act on them. You know, intrusive thoughts is something that many people struggle with, and sometimes they can be quite disturbing. And I can share my own experience about this. Since I was a kid, whenever I go close to a window or a veranda, any place that is high, there's this thought in my mind that I should sit very, very close to the edge, or that I should jump out of the window. You know, and I am not a suicidal person at all. I've never had suicidal ideations, but these intrusive thoughts, they would come. And even now, sometimes they come. I live on the 8th floor of a building, and there's a veranda, and I enjoy spending time on the veranda. Sometimes these thoughts come. I have never jumped out of the window, and I've never sat very, very close on the edge, doing something that is silly and dangerous for no good reason. So these thoughts just come, and I've learned to let them pass. It doesn't mean anything. I don't know where they come from. They're just brain farts. It's nothing else. And so if you're watching this, I bet that there are some intrusive thoughts that they may come to you and they may disturb you. And what I want to tell you is that they are just thoughts. And meditation gives you key skills to deal with these thoughts. So I'm going to share 5 of these skills today. And the more you practice meditation, the more you keep up your daily practice and you deepen in it and you try different techniques and you learn more about it, the more you will develop these skills. The first one is acceptance. Whatever you resist persists. You try that in your life. Anything that you are resisting, you are making it stronger by the very act of resisting. When you accept the intrusive thoughts and you welcome them, then suddenly they lose their power. Rather than say, oh no, this thought is here, what should I do, and trying to change my behavior, then I'm giving a lot of power to the thought. But if I just say inside myself, okay, this thought is here, no big deal. By dropping that resistance, I allow that energy, that thought, to just be there and to exhaust itself. And it will leave, disappear into nothingness from where it came. So observe the thoughts as they are. Drop the resistance towards the thoughts. And you may find it very helpful to label them. A label could be, weird thought is here. Intrusive thought is here. There's no need to say, I'm thinking an intrusive thought. Or I am weird. No, just a weird thought is here. So if you remember nothing else from this talk, just remember this. Accept and label these thoughts, and that's enough. But let's go a bit forward. The second step is to just see them as thoughts. If you don't practice meditation, you probably have a very close relationship with your thoughts. You identify with them. You think that your thoughts are you. The more you practice meditation and self-inquiry, the more you see that you're not your thoughts. And that your thoughts by themselves, they are just really brain farts. They are just electrical impulses in the brain. That's it. And you can give power to a thought by paying attention to it and believing it, or you can withdraw power from the thought. That's your choice. So step number 1 is accept and label. Step number 2 is recognize that the thought is just a thought. And that removes the emotional charge from them. Step number 3 is to reclaim your true position. To know that you are the observer of the thought and not the thought itself. And that's something that may sound true but abstract for you right now, unless you practice a meditation practice such as self-inquiry. Or actually in any meditation practice, eventually you will get to the point where you realize that you are consciousness. You're not your thoughts, you're not your feelings, you're not your memories, because they come and go. And you are there before they come, you are there while they're there, and you're there after they go. So you, the observer of thoughts, is the permanent element here. That's your identity, the observer, consciousness. Thoughts come and go. Does that make sense to you? Because I'm not sure if I'm going too fast here. Please write something in the comments so I know if that makes sense for you. And so this is similar to point number 2. When you realize that you are the witness, the observing consciousness, then you're separate from your thoughts. There's distance. So if I'm sitting by the veranda and there's a thought you should jump, it's okay, because it's just a thought. Everything can arise. I'm observing that thought. I am not that thought. I choose what I do with my thoughts. I have the power, not the thoughts. Step number 4 is don't dialogue with the thought. And that's the biggest mistake I see people making. That a thought comes that is disturbing. Maybe it's a painful memory from the past. Maybe it's an anxiety about the future. Maybe it's an intrusive thought like that. And you know that that thought is not true. So then you engage in an inner dialogue to prove yourself. No, but this doesn't make sense. And this, and that, and this, and that. And that, in a way, in most cases, just strengthens the thought. Because you're recognizing that thought's existence, You're recognizing that thought's importance, so much so that you're spending your time and your energy dialoguing with it, trying to prove yourself how that thought is wrong. So that thought has already made an impression in your mind. So what else could you do rather than dialogue with the thought? Observe it and let it pass. Imagine that thoughts are like clouds in the sky. Any thought can come, but no thought can stay. Another helpful metaphor is imagining that thoughts are like bubbles in a stream. The water is always flowing. The water of consciousness is always flowing. Sometimes there are bubbles on it, sometimes there aren't. But all of those bubbles, they are very fragile. They have a short lifespan. And they don't belong to the water. They're just a temporary manifestation. Likewise, your thoughts, if you let them pass, they will pass. If you think that they are important, you dialogue with them, you make them part of your identity, then they will keep on coming and they will stay much longer than they should. And finally, the fifth tip for dealing with intrusive thoughts is to focus on something else. And that's an ability, of course, like the other ones, that we train every time we sit to meditate. We choose where we place our focus. And what we place our focus, that is the reality for us. I call this the law of attention. Whatever you pay attention to, that thing comes to life, exists for you, and grows. It's not part of your reality. Whatever you withdraw your attention from, that thing slowly wanes and eventually disappears. So by focusing on something else, you are making that something else, the present moment, the work you're doing, your breath, whatever it is, that becomes the reality of a present moment, and the intrusive thought simply becomes something else that has come and gone. So in summary, intrusive thoughts are thoughts that come by themselves and they stay and they can be quite disturbing and we want to get rid of them, but still they come. And meditation helps you to overcome this in 5 different ways. First is it teaches you to accept and welcome the thought rather than resist. And you can see this by yourself. Whatever you resist in your life, in yourself, persists. Second, it allows you to see the thought as just a thought. It's nothing to feel ashamed of. It's nothing to feel bad about. It doesn't make you a bad person or less of a human to have disturbing, intrusive thoughts. They are just thoughts. The third element is that meditation teaches you that you are the observing consciousness. You are the observer of thoughts, not the thoughts themselves. So that means that thoughts have no power unless you give them, unless you believe in them and decide to act on them. If not, they don't have any power. Fourth is, it gives you the ability to not dialogue with your thoughts. The moment you dialogue with your thoughts, you are strengthening them. You're giving them a new leash of life. And fifth, meditation gives you the ability to focus on something else. And then the thoughts just pass by themselves. Many of us have intrusive thoughts. And I hope you have found this helpful in dealing with yours. And if you know of anyone, a friend, a family member, a colleague, that is struggling with intrusive thoughts of one type or another, then please share them this video. Please tag them in the comment. Let them know about these tools, and I'm sure they'll be grateful. And this is the video number 23 of a series of 100 videos, 100 daily videos that I'm doing right now. If you want to make sure that you don't miss the next ones, please like and follow the Facebook page of Live in There, or subscribe on YouTube and turn on the bell if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you want a step-by-step approach to dealing with intrusive thoughts, then I suggest you join my comment-free course, which will give you 3 powerful and quick-acting tools to overcome these thoughts. Thank you for watching. Happy growing.